Let's see. We're hooking up. I don't know why it's taking so long. Oh, there goes one. The last one, we only went live on 3 of the platforms. It's got to be our energy. Every time we get together, this happens. I got 2 on. Still waiting on 3. Huh. Craziness. Oh, we'll just give it a second. Yeah. You guys must work on that every day.
Yeah.
Work on that place every day.
Yeah. It's we call this property our space of love. And we've over the years we've done so many little pockets of things, and just new stuff just keeps coming up.
Right. Let me see. I want to see if this is working. God. Well, we're on 2. We're on YouTube. And we're on 1 Facebook page. Hey, Heather. This is weird. Some weird. God, there's some weird stuff going on. Well, it's on YouTube, but I don't see it on. Let me just make sure. How weird. Very strange. But I should expect it with you. Yeah. Let me try to. I'm going to turn it off and turn it back on. Let's see if that works. On. Yeah, there's something trippy happening. Huh. Well, they're just gonna have to. We'll just have to proceed. Wow, weird, very strange, very strange. I wonder if I should turn it off and then turn it back on.
Yeah, do you want me to leave and go log
No,
in back
no. It's not okay. You. I'm gonna. So Heather, I'm gonna cut it off and then we'll come right back on. There's only 2 people on YouTube, and whoever's in the Lightstream live broadcasting group, I'm gonna shut this down and then turn it back on.
Okay.
Boom. No, you stay right there. Huh. Okay, YouTube's on. I can always upload it to Facebook, download it from YouTube. There's 4 people on YouTube. Huh. Let me just tell everybody. I'm just going to tell everybody to go over to YouTube. It must be a Facebook issue.
Yeah. Yeah, mine's been really slow.
Oh, there's comes another one. Okay. Huh. How strange. Oh, there's another one. Okay, so it's coming. All right, it's coming on. Okay, let's see. Go over here, and it's all good. And go over here. All right, so at least we got. I'm going to share it. That's what I'll do. I'll share it to my page from this page. Okay, so where is it? Here he is, Melina Ferguson. Melina. Okay, let's share it to a group. And there's the group. And oh, here are your kids. Oh, your kids! I saw a picture of all y'all. That was pretty cool. I saw a picture of every one of you. Okay, share.
Was that the funny face one?
Yes, I love that. That was so cool. Yeah, that was so cool.
They're getting ready for school now.
Oh, they are. Oh, it's morning.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I want to share this, yeah, it's not letting me. Oh, wait, I got it. Hang on, I got to change this to Todd Medina. And then we're going to share. Yeah, it's still not going. So share now public. Okay, good. Done. All right, we're good. Let me get off of that. Every time, let's see, just because we're having a little tech difficulty as usual with Melina Ferguson. High frequency. I'm going to play the intro real quick to allow people time to come in, especially since we're having a few issues here. So just be right back. What's happening, everybody? We're having a little bit of tech difficulties, but obviously we're on Soldier One Studios Facebook page, Soldier One Studios YouTube, and for some reason we're in the Lightstream live broadcasting group, which I don't know what that's all about. But anyway, it's all good. Melina Ferguson, what's been happening? I haven't seen you in a long time. What's the last? Yeah, I think we did a show before I went to Sedona, didn't we?
Yeah, and I think we were
Yeah.
supposed to do one with you, but you got delayed and you had to go get your bus.
Oh, that's
So,
right.
yeah.
We had to go get the
Yeah.
bus. That's right. I forgot
Yeah.
about that. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
your spirit sister Saskia. She's
Hello.
do you know her? Do you know her?
I know her through Facebook,
Yeah.
and yes, and I know her.
Y'all, I know you do because y'all have like y'all could be like twins, like you, Morgan, her. Y'all have the same energy, you know. And like
Yeah.
it's that reserved, powerful, uh, twinkle your nose and things happen.
Yeah. And I
like
tried to visit Saskia last year. She went offline for a long time, and we went to Europe last year, and I went to Wells, and I went into the cathedral looking for her.
Wow. You did.
But she wasn't working that day. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. She works there. Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
So
Yeah.
we missed each
Yeah.
other then, but
Wow.
yeah, beautiful
Oh, well.
connection. Beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful woman.
Yeah, it's like for you, it'd be like looking in a mirror. Same thing.
What an honor.
So I was just telling before the show, as we were trying to work that out, I was just saying how intense. I mean, I'm not going through an intensity these last 3 days. My body is kind of going through some stuff, mostly nausea. But other than that, it's pretty cool. But man, you can see it out there in the community and in the field. It's just like it's huge. I know the Schumann residence was like going crazy yesterday, and I think I saw another post that said from the 15th to the 20th, Andromeda was doing something. I don't know.
Okay.
Or no, I'm sorry,
Wow.
Arcturus was doing something.
Yeah.
So I don't know I don't know all that stuff. What's your take on everything? How are you doing? Is everything just smooth and easy?
Sure, Todd.
Yeah.
Look, I picked my kids up yesterday from school because they've gone back. They've been back for 2 weeks now, and they got in the car, and because you're not allowed to go into schools anymore, you're not allowed to go into the school. You got to wait outside, so they don't let anybody in except for the teachers and the students.
Wow.
Anyway, so they came to the car, and my daughter just burst into tears. She had no idea. She had no idea what was wrong. She just felt completely sad. And then my son last night, William, the middle one, he came in and put him to bed, came back in, and he was just really emotional. So they're really feeling it. I was okay, but I was like, something's up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Well, they're good indicators.
I'm sure living with you and coming out of your womb, if you're highly sensitive and living in that portal. I don't know if you guys saw this. Her son got a drone for his birthday, and you took a picture from the drone of your what do you call that? What is that?
What we took? That's a labyrinth.
The labyrinth. Yeah.
Yeah. That particular design is a Avalon Priestess labyrinth.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So, and I think I told you before that I create all my vibrational essences in the center, and I created this cup, this ferro cement recreation of an old lamp on the side of a road, and put cement all around it, and then infused it with crystals and all the magic, and sat it in the middle, and it looked like a chalice cup when it was finished. And that's where I started putting, because I create the portal and the energy and then connect all the ladder lines underneath. And then I just created one on the new moon on Saturday, and it was for Eleanor, Yvonne's mum, and it was the Black Madonna from her sculpture
Yeah.
for her clients. And I went in and I put it down, and she was, okay, you can leave now. I've got this. I didn't have to do anything. It was just like, we're taking over.
Wow.
And yeah, get out. And it was phenomenal. So I'm really excited about sending that one.
Wow. She's a very special lady too.
Oh, incredible. Yep. So
There's another sister that carries the same energy you do, Danielle.
Danielle, hello.
Yeah. I know these things
Yeah.
because I'm married to Morgan, and I get exposed to. Plus, Danielle's been on the show a couple times. Yeah, so like you do some amazing stuff. I mean, this is like, did all this stuff just? How does it come to you? I mean, like, did you remember? Are these like old processes and rituals that you remembered from past incarnations?
I was introduced to it after I worked with my seeds that I used from the energy that was vibrating out from there, and they were speaking to me. And then it went to the next level of working with the seeds and water. And then a friend at the time introduced me how to create those essences, and it just flooded. It just felt so right. It just felt like I just knew, and it was, yeah. And I'd known that I'd worked with water before.
Yeah.
And had to reconstruct it and change it for the internal processes that we're going through. So
Yes.
yeah. I feel. Sorry, go.
No. I was just going to say that. Well, if for those who don't know, Wise Old Seeds is, I think it's wiseoldseeds.com, right? Isn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
This is where you find her stuff. And I should have pulled out. So we moved everything down here, and I had it in the box over there. I'd had it on my desk before. I didn't take it to Sedona, what you've sent me. And but every day I would use it before I went to Sedona. And then it's been in the box until I came on with you. And now I realize I should have been using this for the last 2 or 3 days. And actually, I've been nauseous constantly, and I sprayed 3 times on me, and now I don't feel that way. Now I feel good.
Yeah, it's interesting how you forget, isn't it? Like I have so many available to me, and sometimes I'm just like, get it to, and then it's that groundedness. It just gives you that groundedness. So.
And so, like, and did I meet someone? Yes, I met someone that does the work with you. Oh, that was right before Sedona too. This lady.
Oh, Cleo.
Oh my God. Wow. So it's you, Cleo, and a couple other ladies, I think, right? Mm-hmm. That do this. I don't know. It's a little bit different. It's not really grid work. What is it? What would you call it? Like alignment, or? We
get together. We discuss what's going on, and then we go in. We talk about like, oh, there's this, there's that, this is happening over in the world. Okay, yep. But then we'll go in, and it won't be anything like we think where we're going, or we just either taken out or go under, or it's a very individual process, but it all matches up, which is really beautiful.
So is there any talking when y'all do this, or is it just all
beforehand? We talk before, but then as we just sit there and we are silent. We go in.
Okay. Yeah. So once you go in, so it's a conscious collaboration.
Yeah.
To bring alignment and, I guess, healing frequencies, higher frequencies to the areas that you've discussed before you go in.
Yeah, but even that, like, you don't even think that that's what's like. because we're all in Victoria, we thought we have to be doing the work here, but we're not. We're taken out, and one of them's over on the other side of the world. So it's all very, or some of us are actually taken up and doing, galactic stuff, and so it's all very different.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool though, because I mean, you're hearing about people that are, like in groups that are all over the world, and they meet in Zoom and they do their thing. But like you, and I think Lori Peterson up here in the States, she's got a group. They've been on the show. Yeah, that'd be cool to get your group on the show and share what you guys do. That would be amazing because you never know who's going to pick that up and run with it. I mean, yeah. I mean, I just think it's fascinating. I can just see the energy of it. Like you guys just getting together and be like a little cosmic nuclear bomb. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's quite incredible. But what we've actually found is we were quite what do you say? It's boots on the ground. Yeah. We were like that pretty much up until the end of September. And then it felt like we were pulled out as such to recuperate and do all our internal. Well, that's what that's probably what Claire was like too. But so end of September, we were like doing, for me, it was very much every day grid work. Go in, do this, do this, do this. And then it was like, then I was pulled out and it was like, okay, take a break. Just come back, replenish, rejuvenate. It's and it was like the beginning of October, and that over that full moon was very much do the inner work now. Just keep pushing the inner work.
I think that makes sense, because I know, like in Sedona, there was stuff that Morgan was downloading when we connected at night of what was going to happen, which was divine union frequencies, couples, that we would meet 3 couples, which we did, 2 right away, 1 later, and then also androgynous beings that had the same frequency, and all this connection would take place in code exchange, and then it would pulse out from Sedona, and go on from there. But also that it was happening in other places, which, I'm sure it was happening with you, obviously. And so this is good news, I think, because I don't know how many. I mean, maybe there was 20, 30, 50, 100 different occurrences like that. And each one of them like a little epicenter that pulsated out and into the grid. But yeah, September was, especially the latter half of September, was really, really impactful. I think it makes sense that after all that goes out there, that because I think we got back on the 3rd or the 4th or something, and that you'd have to have some downtime, integration time, because this month seems to be, so far anyway, seems to be really about wringing out all the impurities and whatever, in the body, or the bodies, I should say, plural. But yeah, it seems like that, kind of like I don't want to say a final cleansing, but it's like a drip dry, just turning it, wringing it dry. Feels like it.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but there's just so much distraction and illusion right now. Like it feels like more than ever before that, if you're plugged in here, then you just, it's almost like you're this, and it's really important to be out on the property and doing things and creating things that I really love, just to keep that centered connection, groundedness right now, because it's just this, it's full on.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. And I think also alone time is another, well, the grounding, getting out into nature, alone time, to collect your thoughts and stay grounded with that, and water, lots of water,
Yes.
lots of water. I'm down in, I'm probably drinking at least eight bottles a day. Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm
Yep.
still dehydrated.
Yep.
You see my third eye, see it's got all red. Whenever there's a lot of energy flowing, I always get this dry skin here in the red spot. But yeah, to me, yeah, there is a lot of illusion, especially like in a place where you're at. Well, I guess you could be anywhere, because anywhere in America, with this election thing, and even if you just go on to Facebook, with the election, people are just like, they're going a bit bananas over it. But
Yeah.
it makes sense that the contrast would become, uh, more enhanced. You know what I mean? Like if the illusion is getting uh, more extreme, than the opposite, which would be the personal growth and awareness and sensitivities and skills would seem to expand as well.
Yep. Yep. And the need to be right.
Yeah,
You know.
what's that all
Yeah.
about? Yeah,
And convincing others of the story. So that's all being dismantled, which is it. Yeah, and I feel like that, and it comes back to the neutrality. I did an interesting. So I had a bit of a distortion, and it's all inner work thing happened just before the full moon September, leading into September. I think I pre-weighed what everyone else was going through, and I felt like I was missing something that I wasn't seeing in myself. And I went back to Morgan's email that she sent me of the opposite words, and I found the narcissist and empath.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a big one.
it sure is.
And I saw those patterns, and I'm like, oh my gosh, because it's almost like you see the narcissist in everybody else, but you tend to avoid it within yourself. And
Yeah.
I'm like, this feels so big. I'm going to go there. And oh my gosh, it was phenomenal. Like the 0 pointing in that one was
It's
amazing.
huge. That's
Huge.
Narcissist. Yeah, because
Oh,
if you're in like most of the people, well, I would think virtually all the people that tune in to like this type of program, they're totally empath, super sensitive, hypersensitive. So it would be, to me, would seem to be very difficult to see the narcissistic frequency within yourself. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
so many of the people too that tune in have been in relationships that were narcissist empath. But yeah, that's a huge rabbit hole.
Yeah.
A huge rabbit hole. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't think of, like, say, a narcissistic frequency. To me, a narcissistic frequency is different than a narcissist. A narcissistic frequency, we've all still got some. We're still finding them and integrate or balancing them. But it can be. It wouldn't. It's not as. It may not look as loud as what we're used to seeing from a narcissist. It could just be in the way you speak to somebody, and really the way you think, and it's just so subtle.
Yes.
But yeah, that's a huge one, because everything's got to be brought to the center.
Yeah.
It really does.
So yeah, that was so powerful. And then over the weekend, that full moon was really eye-opening. And then Ben and I did this. We were doing the divine feminine and masculine activations. And while he was doing a feminine one, this was the night before our anniversary, and the energy that swept, like, it was like a wave. And so I felt like, what maybe, I don't know if I can't really work it out, if I was projecting something onto him or whatever. It came back to me in a wave of energy, and I went like that. I'm like, whoa, what was that? That was, but I woke up the next morning and I was in a bliss bubble for like nearly 2 weeks. Something
Wow.
happened. It was so powerful. I don't
When
know
was
what it
your
was, but
when was your anniversary
the 7th.
of October? Yeah.
So so the night before, it was like he was doing his feminine,
Yeah.
alignment, and whatever he was holding on to or whatever I had done, it came back to me, and then I was like, whoo.
Yeah,
It
there
was
was
quite amazing.
yeah, there well that I think some of that's had to be going on because I know in September before we left, so we left on the 15th or 16th, that we had those episodes. We probably talked about it before we went to Sedona on the shows. Where my feminine came out, her masculine came out. They had sacred sex. We watched it. I mean, it was really. But then October the 1st, while we were in Sedona, Morgan went in for about two I want to say 24 hours, and it had to do with the feminine and owning all that. I don't remember the specifics. She'd have to tell you. But then the crazy thing was, 10 days later, on the 10th, it happened again, but it was the masculine. And it lasted like 36 hours, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so there's something going on with that.
Yeah.
There has to be. I do know that, like, since probably, I don't know, I'm going to say it started before we went to Sedona because those things were happening. We went like 2 or 3 nights. It went on, and then in Sedona, the thing about connecting with these couples, which was foretold, and the androgynous beings, but somewhere between while I was there and now, I absolutely feel more and more uh, androgynous. Not just saying it. I mean, actually, I feel it. Like I feel my feminine, big time, like big time. Yeah, yeah. In fact, it was like about a week ago, and I've surrendered. As we do our thing at night, there's been times I've just been moved to get up and say, "I got to tell you this. I surrender to you." Whatever. But this was different. Like about a week ago, it came in and it was like a total surrender. Like I'm giving all my power over, you know. And I know that sounds strange, but it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but it was like, that has to happen now. And from that, then, like you were talking about, that wave comes back at you. And then that allows, like, I can't create unless that happens. I'm going to go like this, and I'm not going to go up. I'm just going to go like this until I gave everything to her being the physical representation. Okay. And then what happened, there was an immediate, pulse came back to me, a wave came back to me, and now I could level up with the creativity as a creator, I guess. But the reason I was bringing that up is because my feminine, it was like a dual thing. It was like I was, as she was the symbol of that feminine, I was kind of like focusing on her, knowing that there's an energetic relationship. But a few days later, I realized, wait a minute, I'm giving my power, my masculine power within me, to my feminine within me. So like the feminine within me has now stepped forward to lead the way. That's as
Yes.
close as I can explain it, and that's not that great, but that's kind of what that's what I experienced in the last week.
Yeah. Gosh, that's so beautiful. And that would
And
explain that real androgynous energy as well.
I,
Yeah.
I feel it. I mean, I really feel it. It's not, a lot of these surrenderings and releasing of the distorted masculine caused me a lot of pain. Like, man, I don't want to give that up. Man, I'm not a man anymore. Like, just all these things. This wasn't like that. This was not like that at all. In fact, several people even commented to me in Sedona and when I got back about something's different about you. And I'd have to say that's what it is. It's like the feminine in me is now leading the way,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it's pretty trippy.
It's beautiful. That
It's
is,
trippy,
yeah.
yeah. But I mean, it is well because it's if it's happening to individuals, it's got to be happening, or at least on the road to happening collectively,
Yes. Yeah. And
which
I'm
is
seeing so many more people in their profile pictures, the complete balance.
yeah,
Yeah, the masculine and feminine, like really merging.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
And then that lady, that sister, Leah,
yes.
Leah, yeah, the one you wrote me the note about.
Mm.
Thank you for giving us her name too, man. Wow. But she talked about it, and I've only heard a few. Morgan, obviously one of them, talk about. Like she said the same thing Morgan did. I came here to anchor in the Mother Goddess energy. I
Mm.
serve the Mother Goddess, and I was talking to that Leah, and she said the same thing, and I said, "Well, I do too."
Yeah.
That's so it was almost like a something I've always known, but I didn't know that I knew it. But
Yeah.
if I look back, because I thought about it when I got off the show with her, and I thought, wow, this is really really weird. So I started thinking, like when I was a little kid, my feminine was intact.
Mm-hmm.
My masculine was not leading the way. They'd always say, Todd, you're always smiling. You have a beautiful heart. I mean, my light was shining, and then as I got into second grade and started fighting and started becoming, distorted masculine, my feminine was not leading the way.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember as a kid, and then I also remember after I woke up and then met Morgan, and I started to realize, you know what, this is the the force. Like when I was homeless, I tell this story many times. There was the masculine energy was there, but it was this goddess energy that was the one that was like when everything was just like shit, and I would just be like crying, or it was her. She
Yeah.
was there. Hey, it's
Yeah.
okay. That's the
Yeah.
voice I heard.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe they'll call off the election and Melania will be president. Melania.
Wow.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, yeah, yeah. It's like the if you just look at that part of it as an example, not to be political, but just it's like it's not working anymore. Like, did you see that lady from New Zealand? Did you see that?
Which one?
Okay, so there was a okay, so there I remember I think it was New Zealand. There was a team of women that got elected, right? This was a few
Okay.
months ago.
Mm.
But I saw something, and I didn't get to go into it too deep, but I saw something a couple of days ago, and this woman became, I guess, prime minister. She can't be
Uh-huh.
like 40 years old, and I listened to like 2 minutes of her speech. Man, she was kicking ass. I mean, like
Yeah.
whoa! Like I was like, wow, you know. And
Oh, that's
evidently she
just
won,
Jacinta.
huh?
Jacinta?
I
I think
don't
her
know.
name's Jacinta Arden.
Yeah,
Yeah.
powerful though. That's
Mm.
a sign of things to come.
Yeah. I mean, was it a couple of weeks ago that I was sitting in the labyrinth and just connecting with the land, and I saw a vision of it's almost like a circle of, how am I going to say this? It wasn't, we'll call them elders, but
Hmm.
it was a circle of, I mean, it felt like a circle of 12, but it was like these people that were coming together onto the lands of Australia and really like the next leaders.
Yeah,
They were leaders, but they were leaders not of what we deem to know them.
Yeah.
They were for the people, and they were the people, but there was this, it was like a council group. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was really exciting.
Yeah.
But so completely different to what we've known.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I was talking to Cleo when we were having one of our chats before we went into meditation, and she made a really good point of saying, you know, what we've got as a government now, people, and how people are not really speaking out of what's actually happening here in Victoria and the rest of Australia, because of, we don't know freedom.
I know.
We don't, we want freedom, but we've never actually experienced freedom. And
I
I
know.
found, and I'm like, that is so true. If we've never had it, but we want it, but we don't. But how do we know what that looks like?
You
So
don't.
that's,
You
yeah.
don't.
So we still sit and wait. So, but not for long.
Jacinda Ardern was reelected on Saturday.
Ah,
And I think what I saw, that somebody put that up. Thank you, Deborah. That she won like huge is what and I think her party won huge too. Um, yeah, you were talking about, yeah. Okay. So like, this is an example. I remember about 2 weeks ago, Dan Andrews or whatever his name is, was saying, "Hey, we're going to let you do this. We're going to let you do that. We're going to give you a little bit more." And that's what we were talking about. Morgan was talking about, like, it's like, wait a minute, you just took all this away and you're going to give a little piece back, and people think that's freedom. And even here in America, I see it all the time. It used to really drive me crazy. I'm not getting a charge out of it anymore, but where people are like, we need to do this so we can have our freedom. I'm like, what are you talking about? There is no fucking freedom. What are you talking about? I mean, taxes isn't freedom. You could go right down the list. Having to pay to go fishing, and if you don't get a license, you'll get fined or arrested to go fishing. What the hell is that? I mean, so it's like all that stuff is crumbling. And the other thing that I think's real encouraging too is this whole, okay, what we were talking about with the feminine energy leading, which is probably going to mostly follow. I could be wrong, but mostly feminine incarnated, physically incarnated females, because that's just how it goes. And maybe that'll change in time as men start to have the feminine within themselves lead. But what I was getting at is, like, I did a show a couple of days ago. It was like Australia Day, like Friday, I think it was, and we had Andrew Rollins was on. I think Leah was on that day, and then these two guys, the father and the son, that are tied to Uluru and the Aboriginal elders. And so here's this 2 generations of men saying that it's time for the women to lead. Okay. That they were saying that with conviction. And then they were also saying how the Aboriginal elders were telling them this is what has to happen. So the fact that you're starting to hear it, I guess is what I'm saying, and hear it from men. It'd be one thing to hear it from women, but start to hear it from men. That means we're getting some traction, I think.
Yep. It's exciting.
It is exciting. It is exciting. It's also, I think, like with what happened to Morgan on the 1st and the 10th, as I was telling you, what happened with you and your partner. It's also bringing up, in order for the divine feminine energy within us and the divine masculine, because the feminine's got to come up first for the masculine to be able to know, you know what I mean? It's also bringing up the distortion in both.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, because if you've got distorted feminine or distorted masculine, which we all have, then it's going to have to come up. And I think that's one of the things that's happening right now. I mean, that's not really my arena, but to me, that's what I'm feeling.
Yeah. Yep. And Yeah, the personality is a very interesting one as well. Um, with with who you are wanting to be and become, of, you know, the greatest battle right now is who you are now to who you're going to become as well. So that's been really interesting. You know, because you can sit in there and go, I am this, I am that, I am this, you know, and it's really, it's like, strip all that away, and what are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been really fascinating.
Yeah. I put up a post like that a couple of days ago, and I kind of had mixed feelings about it
Yeah. Yeah.
because it was an Alan Watts quote that said, "You have to get rid of who you think you are to find out who you are."
Yeah.
And then it just, you know how that happens. You just have to do something. Like you say something or do something, and then after you do it, you're like, "Who did that?" Like I didn't even know where that came from. So when I wrote it, I wrote, hey, I don't care who you're channeling. I don't care what you're doing in the woo woo stuff. Don't forget that's to be embodied, and we're here to be divine human beings. And so like when you do something like that, and then as soon as you do it and you push the button, you're like, oh my god, wait a minute, and you start freaking out because I thought, well, maybe people won't get what I'm really saying because it's almost like a paradoxical thing, the meme and what I wrote. But that's what I was getting at. It's like we've gotten to a point now where all the connections that we've developed individually are intact. And now the universe comes in and goes, okay, but don't get carried away. You're Melina, I'm Todd, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like that's how it was a year ago. I think a
No.
year, you know what I mean?
Yes, because and I think we've had that conversation before about you know, we can get so caught up with who we were and go back into those past lives and then get completely glamored by the whole experience and try and bring that energy back in. But you know that that was then and that was appropriate for them. But we're in a completely new timeline now where each day and each thought process and each creation needs to be stepped up and be completely different in order to allow this new energy to come in. So it's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just, and no wonder things are falling away and crumbling, and things that you had a week ago that you were so excited for doesn't make you excited now.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
being in that real stillness and energy in each moment and creating from there is where you sort of need to be
Yeah.
pulling it in from.
Yes. I agree. I mean, this is what I'm feeling in myself, and I really am. And I'm wondering, and I wonder if because the whatever's occurred between the feminine and the masculine, like individually and together, has is part of uh, this new atmosphere because
Mm.
it is different. It is very different than it was a year ago. A year ago, there was a lot more. We didn't even have this avenue. In other words, it didn't even like exist. It was like these were our go tos. My guides are my go tos. Your guides were your go tos, or whatever. And it's not that they're not there because they're still there. It's all that's still there, but it's like don't forget what this is all about. And I
Mm.
wonder if you know there's been a higher ground developed because of what we were talking about that occurred in September and in this month. Would make sense.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
game changer. It's a game
It
changer.
sure is. Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, when I still look at my purpose, even though I'm constantly creating and I've got projects happening, it's, you know, you feel like you're like, I know I'm meant to be here for these times. and that sort of keeps you going. But yeah, so but there's no sort of clear direction out there other than me just being in this now moment and just experiencing it from here. It's hard to make any plans. I mean, being in Victoria and having all these restrictions, no travel.
That's crazy.
You've got to be completely present. That's
crazy.
That's one thing that it's been very clear here in this country is how to be present.
Yeah. And it's amazing too, because we went through like 5 or 6 states, and it was really weird because like a couple of the states, like you could not walk in. You walk in a store without a mask, you got no service. They will not serve you.
Yeah.
And then we get to Arkansas, and I went to get Morgan some milk and ice cream last night, and I just had the mask, and I thought, well, I'll just put it around my neck and then I'll raise it up. I walked in there and I had put it on because it's a grocery store, kind of a hamburger ice cream joint and a grocery store together. And so I went and got my groceries, and I went to go get a cheeseburger, and because my body said so. and I was standing there, and then I looked around, and nobody had a mask on except for the workers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of strange that occurs, but I think that's a lot like, say, Victoria versus Adelaide. Like, Leilani told me, and Morgan told me, and Morgan's friends, and had told her nobody wears a mask in Adelaide.
Yeah, it's for the rest of the states as well. Well, I think it's for those that want to wear it, they can. But all the other states, it's just our state that's compulsory.
Let me, this Earth Fairy Queen 2017, I don't want to, I just needed to say this, and she brought this up, talking about wanting to come on. Anybody that wants to come on, soulogynetwork@gmail.com. And we're like really backed up, so it's probably be like January, February, unless it's someone like Melina, that comes on. But anyway, I just want to do that as a, let everybody know.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really excited about the rest of the year. I really am. And I want to go back to what you said though. This being present thing, like what we were talking about, like don't forget what the priority is. You're here to be Todd, like use me as an example. And that presence is including like a time like right now, like my body's going through stuff, or you're clearing something, or I'm having these lucid dreams of these people that I haven't thought about in years, and things are being presented to me, like the one I had this morning or last night or this morning had to do with distorted sex. Basically, it wasn't like I was, engaged in it. It was just like on the, that's what the dream was telling me. And then I came out of it. And I was like, okay, what was that about? And I was just told, well, it's just coming out. It's not coming out in your awake state. It's coming out in your dream state. And so it's a good thing. You won't see it again. I was like, okay, I'm just wondering. But, but to feel those things and not to run from them and not to project and externalize them, just to keep it within yourself. And to me, that seems to be like really powerful, more powerful than it's ever been. Like, than ever.
Yeah, that's right. Because we tend to want to share so much of, like, if it gets you really excited, but then it's sometimes it's always only just for you. And when you do go take it out there, it sort of takes it away from what that experience was. So it's always about checking in for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I think it started Saturday morning for me. And, I've done, obviously being with Morgan, I've done my share of lists. But I came down Saturday and within 2 minutes, I was like, okay, something's going on. and I didn't, I just went, okay, I'm good. And I was good, no charge, nothing. But I said, I'm going to make sure, and I'm going to make a list, right? And the reason I'm bringing it up is because the things that I wrote, which was like 2 pages, uh, I 2/3 of them I've never put in the words down before. Like,
Wow.
and what happened was I sat down, it's not like automatic writing,
Yeah.
and I sat down and they just started coming, t, 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 you know,
Yeah.
and then I looked at it and I was like, whoa, like, wow, you
Yeah.
know, and then I went through them. But so that was new ground for me. I would have never thought of these words.
Yeah.
Some of these words are just like, like conscious application. What the hell is that? Uh, Conveying blind spots, feminine voice, feminine
Yeah.
voice. That was a big one. Uh, the will to live presently, you know,
Yeah.
uh, and then, like um, uh, peacemaking without conceding power. I mean, I just, all this stuff came out and it was cool, and I could
That's
feel the energy moving.
yeah. That's phenomenal. Like where were they? They were hidden, yeah? Like in pockets and they just it was the right time. And it was a new moon on Saturday, yeah? Or was it
Yeah.
Saturday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess too, like, you expand, which sounds like last month in the first part of this month, that's what that was for everybody's expansion. And then you have a new perspective. So you can
Mm.
see things you couldn't see before. Like
Yeah.
I didn't, there was no conscious thought. I just went shoot, 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 right down the list. Feminine voice. So when I got to feminine voice and I started to analyze it and invocate it, I started to realize what it was. And what it was what I told you earlier. It was
Hmm.
like, oh, my feminine. I mean, I have a feminine, Morgan, but my feminine. Now I surrender to you. Now you're the voice. You lead. Like that's
Yeah.
what came out. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Far out.
I know. I
Did you
know.
polar opposite those or did you just go
I
from that
haven't.
list?
I did a few of them because I'm still sitting with them. I'm
Yeah.
still going back and visiting them.
Yeah.
And I don't know that some of them you know yeah, a lot of the 1/3 of them I could easily do, um, but some of them were okay. So like yeah, I guess yeah, they all have a polar opposite. The will to live presently,
Mm. The will
obviously.
is so powerful. Like when people
Yeah,
hop on the table one night before I do a session, I'm like, are you willing
yeah,
to be here right now and do what you need to do? And it's like, oh, whoa.
yeah,
Yeah, because the will is
yeah.
the next. Yeah, it's
That's
amazing.
right. That's right. So she talks about she downloaded last month the trinity of service to self, service to others, and service to humanity.
Hmm.
Uh, and that's one of the ones that I wrote too. And I don't even know, I didn't even remember writing it. And so when I went there, I started to see a blend of feminine. Like I could see the feminine that was coming from the feminine. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? So like I thought, okay, so now consciously, every thought going forward will be in alignment with all three of those things. And I'm not only saying this because I think that's fresh, fresh code, and I didn't bring it in, but that's available and accessible now.
Yeah.
And that's promising too, because how much of the stuff that any of us have done, no matter how big or small, was in alignment with all three.
Hmm.
You know, that's that's pretty almost disturbing.
Yeah.
To think of all that, and
Yes.
I did. I went through a
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
of. I went through every phase of my life, every phase, like 10-year phase of my life, and whatever I was doing, and I could see where they weren't in alignment.
Hmm.
But that was my masculine, you know, that took over at 8 or 9 years old,
Yeah.
or distorted masculine. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful journey, isn't it? Like, because we are recreating a whole new world, and
Yeah.
it's yeah,
Whole new universe.
whole new universe. Yeah.
I,
How's your walk-in? Like you said, you thought you had a walk-in.
well, I almost wish I hadn't. Man, this is because I'm with Melina. My computer's doing crazy stuff. I almost wish I hadn't have put that in there
Yeah,
because the real message that I got was that we have walk-ins all through our lives,
absolutely. I agree.
and that was the real message. You know, it was. I almost wish I had taken that first line out. And
It's like a leveling up. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
So like, and then I was shown the different ones that I had,
Mm.
and they were so like they showed me like uh, all the different aspects, all the different, but they're all still here. So it's like you're taking in more and more and more and more. Pamela Johnson was on the show this morning, and she said, like the Syrians have a specialty, and the Arcturians have aspect has a specialty, and so on, and that the human is containing all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, boom, that's it right there. And that's
Yeah.
what I received in regard to that walk-in experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Far out.
Bar out.
And the kids, we talked about the kids before, but like this thing with what you guys are going through over there. I mean, how are, because I'm not cohabitating with the kids. I haven't for a few years, but how do they handle that? I know in my life, two marriages before Morgan, 6 kids involved. And people say kids, like if you get a divorce, people's always like, oh, the kids, the kids, the kids. But the kids are the ones that are the resilient ones. Like they're the ones that, but how have like yours or other kids you've seen, how have they handled this quarantine?
Um, we haven't really interacted with other children because
True. Yeah.
of the restrictions, and they've only just gone back to school for the second time, and it's been 2 weeks.
Mm.
And it's a much nicer environment up there because now the kids can interact with each other. Beforehand, they weren't allowed to, they had to walk in a line on a particular line through the hallway, like, and not, yeah, and keep away. And then they were only allowed to play with their grade friends,
Yeah.
so they were separate from others. So they struggled in that regards. And then they came home and then did 12 weeks of homeschool, which was pretty awesome here because, they get up, they push it out, which is only like a couple of hours, and then they would just go and run wild in
Wow.
the wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's probably been the best thing, probably not for my eldest who just turned 12 and he's in year 6, and it's his last year, and that last year of
Yeah.
primary school before they go to high school.
Yeah. When you're king of
So
the school.
yeah, so I've felt like
Yeah.
really felt for him in that regards. But they're seeing and witnessing a lot of different behaviors from adults, and learning about people have the right to do whatever they want because it's their health and their body. So whatever you're seeing, like that's what people have to do and wear masks, and it's not to judge, and
Yeah.
it's we always take care of ourselves. So they've learned a lot. But they do ask a lot of questions, and it's a matter of navigating those questions so you don't put any programs and beliefs of what
Yeah.
you're experiencing, as well.
Yeah.
And so it's constantly being open-minded, not being stuck in the old paradigm, and leading these kids in a new direction. So it's it's been pretty tough for Ben and I just to keep our energy levels, in all of this, how we think what's going on, but not projecting that onto our kids so they can just have a childhood experience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And
been
yours have,
hard.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm just saying that, and for you guys, because of the land you have, probably a little easier. I can't imagine,
Yes.
I know like,
Yeah.
Morgan's son, he's in Melbourne, and I haven't talked to him, but she'll tell me what some of the conversations, and man, they can't do anything,
No.
and you can only go like 2 miles from your house or 5 kilometers.
Yeah,
I mean,
5Ks. Yeah.
it's
And now it's
crazy.
just been lifted as of Sunday to 25Ks.
Oh, cool.
So
That's cool.
yeah, it's we it's so funny. We feel, because we're such in open space, there's all 5-10 acre properties around us. We feel like we're in this bubble. So when we go out and into the car and we have to go to the shops or something, I completely forget that there's masks.
Yeah.
I'm in my own world, in my own reality, and I'm creating this new reality. And every time, I don't know why, but I get shocked that I
Yeah.
still see people with masks
Yeah.
on, and I'm like, oh, that's right,
Yeah.
we're
It's
in
like
this. It gets reactivated in my mind. Oh, that's right.
it's like an alternate universe.
Yes.
I had
Yeah.
I saw today, I think, in between shows, I was just messing around, just trying to rest, and I was surfing a little bit, and I saw this. So that Dr. Fauci, who's the chief medical in the states, went on 60 Minutes and was talking shit about Trump. And I don't have any political. It's not my point. My point is that he said, because it's interesting watching the energy versus
Mm.
that. And he said that Trump won't wear a mask because it's a sign of weakness. And I thought to myself, oh, that's what he's doing. Not that I'm for or against him, because I'm not. It's just, but I've noticed that he won't do it, and it is submission. There is something to it. You know what I mean? And yeah, and I just thought that was interesting because uh, it just kind of jumped out at me, the energetics of it. Yeah, this is amazing. It's a great setup. We did a great job setting up this whole thing. What about
Yeah.
what about
So I was going.
go ahead.
Sorry,
Go
I was
ahead.
going to go back. It reminded me of something that you just said then. I was, because my mind, well, you think of so many things of what's going on, and why was I here in Victoria? Like because we were looking at going overseas quite for the last 18 months of heading over to Europe, taking a stint out of here and leaving for a couple of years and coming back. And I'm like, it never came to pass, and it wasn't, nothing presented itself. And so, like, I'm meant to be here on this land, holding space. And then I got to thinking, like the distortion, and we thought, because we as Australians think that we live in the best country in the world.
Mhm. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't want to laugh, but we don't. Because clearly we've seen what's been going on in our country. Well, I've seen so much that's been going on, and particularly in Victoria, and particularly in the governments,
Yeah.
and how much control slowly they've infiltrated, and it's just being blindsided. And I was thinking, I wonder what role I played in the past life, where maybe felt like I've had to come back and clean up the mess. Does
Mm.
that make sense? Do you know what I mean? Like, what if I created something here a long time ago, and I was a part of that polarization, And
Yeah.
now I've come in and I'm possibly, helping towards creating something completely new and different now.
That would
That's
make
just a thought, but
yeah, that would make sense. The reason it would make sense to me is because of the equilibrium, the 0 point. Because if your energy, which you are, and it, as everything is, and you know, tip the seesaw, you know what I mean? You tip the seesaw in, say, a previous incarnation, it would make sense that you would, as everything is one and everything comes back. Yeah, that makes sense. Which is all the more reason, and which is another good sign too, I guess, because we're all going to have to get to a point where every single thing, every single polarity will have to be one and the same, and seen as one and the same. Um,
yeah.
the other thing that happened too was yesterday. I had I had a glass of water, and I have a bottle, I have a glass, I know what I have. I mean, I usually grab two at a time, and I poured it in and I down it. I usually just drink the whole thing, and I know I did because I was wiping my face, and I looked down like 2 minutes later, and the glass was half full. But that wasn't the only thing. I could actually feel a shift in me, like altered, like I was up and then I got planted here or something like that. So
Wow.
people talk about timeline shifts, and I've never fully resonated. I've gone, oh, okay, this is different. I get it now. I'm in a different frequency, but this was actually in my body. Like
Yeah.
I it almost like somebody like just picked you up and went like that. Like
Yeah.
somebody just like a giant picked me up, boom, and put me back down. And it happened right when I was looking at that. And I
Yeah.
said, oh, I know I drank that water. That's kind of weird. And then as an emphasis, my body got it. I thought, wow, I wonder if this is happening. But that was on or about the new moon too,
Yeah.
right? So that was really strange. That was a very physical kind of experience. Trippy.
Yeah.
Mm.
I love how you say that's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. Oh, and
So I'm
then
like, what?
the thing that you said about Australia too, right? I was thinking about this a minute ago. Uh, New Zealand. So Australia, New Zealand, and Canada are are basically run by England, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
the
when
Commonwealth. Yeah.
they're the Commonwealth. So that's another thing I was kind of looking at. I was talking to Morgan, like, how does that work? And then she was telling me about this. They have like a representative in Australia that's like has the last word, basically, like can override anything.
Hmm.
So thinking of all that, and then thinking about this sister that's been reelected as prime minister over there, that's to me a good sign, because that's in the Commonwealth. I mean, that's like England. I sometimes look at Melbourne and go, I wonder if they're just like testing it over there, and then they're going to do it in England, which they've been expanding it a little bit. I think they're like at level 3 or something. But the fact that that's occurred in New Zealand, uh, to me, even makes it more impactful, because, I mean, for all intents and purposes, it's very likely that England has been at the center of the control for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see over the next couple of months.
yeah. I think the next, what do we got now? Two months and 10 days. Shoot, we got what do you call it? Halloween, but it's not called Halloween.
Yeah.
It's
What are they
kind
going to do for that? Because we don't celebrate it. Well, they kind of do, but our Halloween's in March. So,
of, oh, it is. It's
yeah, if it were to be, we don't.
Beltrain, and then I know on Outlander they call it something else.
Yeah.
But but it is like it's been a pagan. It's when all souls are walking, or I don't know the whole. But anyway, I would
The
think
veils
the
are the thinnest.
yeah, the veils are well, they're
Mm.
pretty thin now.
Yeah.
They're getting pretty thin.
Yeah.
Thinner and thinner. So yeah, very cool. Beltane, Melanie said.
Beltane, yeah.
So
In the Northern Hemisphere.
in the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah.
That's right. I forget about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, cool. It's good seeing you.
Yeah.
And very happy that I got reminded and it was sitting right there. I've got the other stuff too, the drops I've been using, that I was using. So yeah, very cool. And yeah, and if you're friends, you guys get together and you want to put it on film so people can, pick up some code from you and see what you guys are doing, maybe get some ideas. I'm open to it. You know that.
Thank you,
I would
Todd.
love.
That's
Yeah,
lovely.
absolutely. Thank you, and thank you and your friends, and thank your children and your husband and what y'all are building over there. Because I think as time goes on, we're going to see these little things like your portal or like Soulogy or like these little groups that get together on Zoom. And these things are a lot more powerful than we ever thought.
Yes.
They
Yep.
really are. Yeah, there's
Yep.
no doubt. No doubt at all. It's happening. It's happening big time. I feel a lot of elemental also the last few days. A lot of elemental energy the last few days.
Yep. Yep.
I don't know why that is, but I thought I would just drop that. I'll just drop that. You take care. Thank you for coming in. I look
Thank you
forward
so
to
much for having me and making
Mhm.
time for me. I
Yes.
really am honored and appreciate
Yeah, I'd love
your
to get together with you once a month. I told you. But
thank you.
absolutely, if you're open to it, yeah. And any collaborations you might have in mind. You've got great energy and you're doing great work and people need to know about it. That's the way I look at it. So I'm here to
Thank you,
support that.
Todd.
All right.
Lots of love. Mwah.
Okay.
See
Peace out.
everybody.